recording, but it'll only get my screenshot. All right, so let's see. We need a test scale to compose a number of subtests. Okay, it's just intelligent tests. Okay, on one subtest, the raw score has a mean. All right, so this is for numbers too. Mean of 35, that's mu. The standard D, this is sigma, right? A standard deviation of 6. Assuming these raw scores form a normal distribution, for B, we need to, so for B, we need to, what number represents the 90th percentile? So we're going to find what the 90th percentile is. So I want you to get out your z-score chart. You got to have your z-score chart out for these. And let's pull it up. Once you master the z-score chart, all this is going to get much easier. So first off, we need to see what z-score comes from the 90th percentile. Remember that the z-scores, remember how we find them with the 10 cents value and the penny value? We bring them all together to find what the percentile is in here. These are all the percentiles. So first we got to look for the number that is closest to 90. So I look here. Let me get my, I don't have it handy. Okay, I'm just going to write it. So we look here and we have 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Here's the 90s. All right, let's look. And so over here on the very right, we have 90.05. And over here, we have 90.32. This one is 89.97, though. That's only 300 thousandths away from 90%. So we're going to take this one right here. You see the percentiles. Say again?
Mr. Casillas?
Yes.
Are you supposed to be sharing your screen?
No. It never shared, did it? I started recording. I see. Thank you. I started recording the screen share, but I didn't do it. So I'm just talking. You're like, what? Thank you, Stephanie. Let's go ahead and look at it one more time. All right. So from number 2, I went ahead and I already wrote down, okay, I knew my mu, I knew my sigma. I'm trying to find what value. So really I'm looking for what value will give us the 90th percentile. So my steps are, okay, when we're talking about percentiles, we're talking about these numbers on the inside. We use the z-score to find them, or we use the percentile to find the z-score, okay? So I look here, I'm looking for the number closest to 90. And I look here, it looks like I was saying this one here is 0.8997. You see that? That's the closest one to 90, to 0.9. So remember the 90th percentile? The 90th percentile is 0.90. So when I went down here to look for the percentile, I can see real quick it's this. Okay. Now, what z-score does that give us? 1.2, but we need the hundredths place, 8. Okay. So that is our step to get back to the other work we were doing. So we got the z-score. Now remember that we're going to use this z-score formula, and that is mu. No. X sub 1 minus mu over sigma. So let's set all this up. Now that we know the z-score, right? We know the z-score is 1.28. We could set that equal to x sub 1 that we're trying to find minus 35. Remember I was told it was 35 here. All divided by sigma, which is, I can make that a 6 if I can just, there we go, 6. Okay, so now it's just a matter of, okay, I could even see this as over 1. That might help me solve this. I want to solve for x. So first I have to get rid of everything connected to it. We got this as subtraction. We got this as division. So first I'm going to deal with division by multiplying by 6. That cuts that tie. Multiply by 6 on both sides. Then we end up with x minus 35 is equal to 7.48. That's not right. Wouldn't that be awesome if it was? That's not, though. 1.28 times 6. Ah, this is close. 7.68. Not bad. All right. And guess what? One more step. One more step. Add 35. I'm going to run through every bit of this right now. I like equal sign, equals, line down the equal sign. So we get 8, 6, 2, 4 is equal to x sub 1. And kind of said that backwards. I'm sorry. 4, 2, 6, 8. And that's what they had in the book as well. Now, here is the approach. I really want you to copy this down and have that ready, right? Because as I'm putting in the information that they give us, I know I'd find the z-score with, the subset, the number that we end up finding. I know that I'd find that, the z-score by inputting that, the mu which they gave us, the sigma that they gave us. But because we're looking for x sub 1, I have to use the 90 percentile to first find the z-score, then work our way backwards. So it could be the exact same thing, but the next problem, they could give us different numbers and say, what is sigma? And then I would have the other 3 to plug in and work it out. You're always going to have 3 of the 4 things you need there. Okay. And I'm going to keep on moving. Write something in the chat box privately if you need me to explain something different for this next problem, which we're going to look at. That was 2B. Now we're going to do 2C. This is all from the work sheet if you came in late. All right, 2C has the same bit of information. This information is the same. But instead for 2C, it says, what is the probability of getting a raw score between 28 and 38? What percent is going to be between the values of 28? Before we just had 1 point value to plug in. Now we have 2 values to plug in. So we're going to work it all out. Find the percentile for this, 28. Find the percentile for 38, and then find the difference between them. That's all we're going to do. So remember that what this is saying is, and let's see. So here's our mu at 35. So we know that we have one number right here at 28. We have the other number over here at 38, and that's our x sub 2. So what we're trying to find is, since x sub 1 is going to be from 0 to x sub 1, x sub 2 is going to be from 0 to x sub 2, all we need to do is find the percentage that is in between those two values. So you could think of it as x sub 2 is all this to the left. Once we find x sub 2, if we subtract out x sub 1, this part is taken out. So then we'll have what's left over. So our goal is to find the percentile for 28, the percentile for 38, and then subtract them at the end. Okay? So let's do that. Let's do it right here. We first find the z-score for all these. So we're going to have 28. I'm going to write them both in so you can see that it's 2 different problems, and then at the end we subtract them. This z-score, 1 and 2, is going to be 38 minus 35 over 6. So we'll find the z-scores. We'll get our z-scores. Then the next step will be to find what percentage they have, and then all we have to do is subtract the 2 percentages. That's it. Okay. So let's do the z-score here. This is going to be negative 7 over 6. I'll just do it. So we get negative 7 divided by 6. All right, so this is going to give us negative 1.16 repeating. Always write to the thousandth place for this because our chart has 3 digits. Actually, has 4 digits. So let's go all the way 4 digits. This one over here is going to be 0.5 because we have 3 over 6, 0.5. Okay. So everybody get that far down there. Everybody get that far. Maybe take a screenshot if we're running a little bit behind. No worries. Okay, and then I look at this and I say, well, let's go ahead and back to our z-score chart. We get that handy. We're looking for negative 1.16 to start. So negative 1.1666. So negative Let's go to negative 1.6, right? And then I want to look at not negative 1.6, I need negative 1.66. Because it's 6 repeating, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it as, Now, you know what? Because we're going this direction, let's go ahead and change that to negative 1.117. This one will keep it the same, but we're going to use that z-score and find now what that percentile equals. So I look back at 1 point, or I look at 1.1. I look at 1.1, and now I need to go over to 1.17. So get your line up to 1.1, that's the 10th digit, and then I go over to 7 cents. So if I have a z-score that's negative 1.17, first I find that this is the negative 1.1. Now I got to get that 7th cents in there. So I go down, and it's already marked in red. We have the percentile for this. It's going to be 12.1%. It was 0.1210. Okay. So I'm going to go back here now. I'm going to say, well, we had 12.1%. We're trying to find our percentiles, and then we're going to subtract them. So that was half the problem. Now we have to do the same thing for this z-score. I think it's going to be easier for us because it's a whole number. There's no trickiness. So it's over here at 0.5. So everybody go to 0.5. It's 0.5. And it's not 0.51 or 0.52, it's just 0.50. So I go to the first column, and here we have it right here, 0.6915, which is 69.15%. Okay. So I hope the z-score chart is getting easier. We will keep using it, so you'll have plenty of practice. And then I look at this, and I'm like, okay, I just have to find the difference between them. Because what this is saying, from x sub 1 over, from here x sub 1 over, or from 0 to x sub 1 is 12.1%. From 0 to 38 is 69.15%. So to find just this part, we're going to subtract out the x sub 1. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that and say, instead of subtract our difference or minus here, I'm going to put, you're going to find the difference, okay? Because that is always going to be a positive number when we're talking about percentiles. You're not going to have a negative percent. All right, let's subtract them. 5.075%. Yeah. And they rounded that to the hundredths place, or to the whole number, but I like that. Okay, so let's see what we did again. We're always dealing with the z-scores being the point that we input minus the mu over the standard deviation. So since I want to find the difference, how much percent is in between these two, I need to look and see, well, I got to find each of them separate. And I found each of them separate by finding the z-score to find the percentage, and then all I did was subtract them to get the percentage in between, okay? If you get here and you're like, well, if I subtract this from this, it's going to be negative. No, instead of that, think of this as this portion here is 12.1. The entire bit here, all of this, is 69.15. So we got to just subtract out that 12.1, like with the Play-Doh. Just cut that out, get that out of there, and you have what's left. Okay. All right. So in the chat, that's where I'm going to take all the questions, because we're going to keep on moving. And just double checking here, we are going to have to go quick over these last problems, which I know, but I'm recording it and I will put it on right after class or by tonight if I have more painting questions come up and I got to go outside. So where was I with this? We were looking at D. Good. So we'll keep it on D, and I'll put this info here so we can just say, now we're on 2D. So we can see that. Okay. 2D, what is the probability of getting a raw score between 41 and 44? Okay, if you want to just go on your own, go ahead and knock that out. It's the same process. we're going to go between 41 and 44. We got to do the whole thing for each of them. So first, find your z-score. 41 minus 35 over 6. Z. So 2 is going to be 44 minus 35 over 6. So this one over here, this actually, the z-score is going to be, we're going to get 6, right, over 6, so it's 1.0. This one over here, it looks like we're going to have 9 over 6. 9 over 6. Whoops. And that's just going to give us 1.5. Okay. So this is our first step. We're going to find the z-scores. Next, we're going to have all the percentages. And then we got to find the difference at the end. That's all we got to do. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at it again. Let's see if we can find what we need. Z-score of 1.0. That's going to be quick. Go to 1.0. 1.0 z-score. 1.00, so we're looking at this one right here. So for 1.0, we're at 0.8413, which is going to be 84.13%. For 1.5, we're going to be here. It's 1.50, so it's this one right here. And we're going to go with 0.9332, which is 93.32%. Now remember, we're just finding the difference. It doesn't matter the order here. You're going to always subtract the smallest number from the largest. You're just going to do like a regular subtraction here. So let's go 93.32 minus 84.13. There we go. The difference in that area in between it is 9.19%. That is our answer. Okay. So maybe having it in 2 columns was helpful. When you have it in 2 columns, and you can kind of see what each part is doing. And that is super helpful. So I hope that was. Okay. All right. I couldn't see you guys before. Now I can see you a little more. Good. All right. Let's see. What else do we have to work on? Take a screenshot if you need it. Screenshot. 3, 2, 1. Screenshot. Good. All right. Then we were trying to get through 5 and 6. Let's see what those look like. Maybe they're quicker. I think the last problems end up being a little easier, quicker. Maybe not. We'll see. Let's look at 5A. Okay, we'll do 5A. For the z-scores below, find the percentile rate, percentage of individual scoring below. Okay. So we have z-scores for 5.1. It's negative 0.47. And I think that this actually is also just saying, well, what is a z-score, remember? What is it again? So if here's our mu, here's -1 standard deviation. This is going to be about here, okay? So this value right here, x sub 1, is saying that our z-score for this is negative 0.47, okay? So what this is saying is, look, the z-score tells us the percentile. We can figure out the percentile from that of every bit before it. Every bit before it. Remember, z-scores from 0 up to the point of reference. So this is asking, find the percentage of cases falling above the z-score. Oh, that's the wrong problem. Number 5 is find the percentile rank scoring below. So we're already set up. All we have to do is find what percentile goes with a z-score of negative 0.47. So I think they had like harder problems and they throw in easier problems, so it's confusing. I agree. So let's look at this. We are going to look at our line here. And looking real close, if you couldn't see before, I'll try to zoom in again. So we're looking for negative 0.47. So I'm at negative 0.4. I need to add 7 cents to it. Here's my 7 cent column. So we end up with right here, this value right there. You see, because I went first to negative 0.4, and then I added the 7 cents to get that negative 0.47, and that gets me down to right here at 31.92. So let's write that here, 30.3192. So this z-score gives us this percentile, which we can reiterate as 30.92%. Dunzo. Okay. I think because we're just limited with time. Let me see one more time where we're at. Yeah, we're out of here now. All right, I'm going to tell you with the only difference with 6A, I'm just going to say is they want you to find the percentage of cases falling above the z-score. So with the z-score, remember that the z-score is all of this, right? So if I just figured out that all of this was 28%, they're asking you for number 6. Number 6 says what percent above? That's the main difference. What percent above? So with number 6, x sub 1, whatever they're giving us, if that's 28% and they're asking the percent above, you're going to be given 28%. All you have to do is subtract that from 100 and you get 72. So this part is 72%. That's the only difference for number 6. That's going to probably help you do those problems. Okay? All right. At the next class, I'll also iterate what types of problems will be in the take-home quiz, which you'll have about a week to work on independently. And that is the only amount of time that I can keep you for today. I'm sorry that we